is Scott Bolton. I'm a trustee and a graduate of the Marylhurst MBA program. It is indeed an honor to be here today on behalf of Marylhurst alumni to provide our alumni charge. It has been said that you are your reputation. Marylhurst has a reputation as an institution that builds the mind as well as the spirit. It's a place to find fulfillment. Marylhurst students come from a wide array of backgrounds, circumstances, and experiences. They are seekers, and they are participants in their education who come here to learn, not to be taught. They leave with knowledge that unlocks more knowledge as they continue down life's journey. They will forever be connected to this place, this very special place, and defined by its values. Dr. Rose, the alumni charge to you is to safeguard and build upon Marylhurst's reputation. To work to make this precious educational investment increase in value evermore. To be a steward who is strategic yet graceful, and a visionary who is also present. We want you to affirm that our reputation is well earned. Melody, we know that you have all the tools to do this. We expect you to, and we know you will. So on behalf of Marylhurst alumni and future alumni, welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Ruth Beyer, and today I speak on behalf of the Board of Trustees of Marylhurst University. I'm happy to say that I see many of my fellow trustees here today. One of the key responsibilities of the Board of Trustees is to select the president of the university. Whenever that duty arises, we put together a long wish list, and I emphasize long, of the characteristics we'd like to find in a new president, thinking about all the various constituencies of the university and the community. And then we try to select just the right person to lead the university forward. So Dr. Rose, with that task in mind, my charge to you today has two aspects. The first is to share with you what we as trustees sought in our search for a new president, the position that you will now fill. The second is to share what we believe we found in you and what we hope for you at Marylhurst. So what characteristics did we search for when we looked for our new president? And what did we find in our choice? At a high level, let me name a few, and I think you will find them not surprising. Of course, the interests of our students is a top priority, and we sought a president who would have a strong sense of responsibility to them and to their ability to complete their degrees. We sought a person who would embrace the high purpose established by the sisters who founded Marylhurst. We needed a leader who would actively integrate our goals and values into his or her leadership identity. We wanted someone who would uphold the academic and teaching standards represented by our faculty, and who will enhance the reputation of the university and preserve the value of the degrees that have been earned by our many alumni. Of course, today's world of higher education is undergoing many changes, and we know that we will not be immune. So one of our top desires was to find a person with the experience and perspective in higher education that would help us to make good decisions, be they easy or difficult, when change is necessary. Dr. Rose, we think we found a special combination of these characteristics in you. Your experience in higher education leadership positions will provide valuable perspective and credibility, plus your strong commitment to academic quality and student success is clear. You are forward-thinking, realistic, a clear thinker and a good communicator. We have high hopes and expectations with your presidency, and we ask that you put all of these aspects of your experience and yourself to work for us. We know that every job, including this one, will have its happy times and its challenges, and we ask that every day you lead Marylhurst forward with strength and courage, that you are creative and adaptable, and that you take us to it in a direction consistent with our values. And finally, for our hopes, We hope you find your work here fulfilling and inspiring. We hope that the Marylhurst community will benefit from your leadership and that you are the beneficiary of their and our support. We hope you come to love Marylhurst and its mission as we do. So Dr. Rose, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I congratulate you and welcome you as 15th President of Marylhurst University. We look forward to working closely with you in the many years to come. Congratulations.
I chose Marylhurst University because it has a very well-known and respected art therapy program. But the most important reason was I wanted to be surrounded by people who cared about my education as much as I did. I wear many hats here at Marylhurst: student, receptionist, barista, that one loud laughing girl. But the most important to me is acting as president of the Student Leadership Council, our form of student government here at Marylhurst. As the president of Student Leadership Council, I've had the opportunity to meet students who have come here to complete their education for many different reasons. But there are themes that unite us all: a desire to become educated citizens of this rapidly changing world, and a need for educational credentials that will help open doors for personal and professional growth. Additionally, we are all here because we have dreams. We have a vision for our future and unique paths that we must follow. Marylhurst University is where our paths converge. It is a place for visions and dreams to become realities and accomplishments. Dr. Rose is not exempt from being a dreamer. She has a vision for her future, for our school's future, and she possesses the skills, knowledge, and power to make her vision our reality. Another rather telling symbol of Dr. Rose's placement here at Marylhurst is just in her name. Her last name, Rose, is my middle name, so obviously. But one of the original sisters, as Sister Rodriguez said, who brought Catholic schools here to the Northwest, resulting in the creation of Marylhurst, also shares her name, Sister Marie Rose de Rocher. Dr. Melanie Rose, on behalf of all the current and future students, I charge you with the care of our dreams. You hold the keys to one of the most vital components of our dreams, Marylhurst University. We trust you with running the school in a manner that is beneficial to all, but first and foremost, fosters student success. As students, we expect mutual trust, open communication, and an unwavering support. With you at the wheel, Dr. Rose, I have no doubt that every vision for the university and our individual selves will come to fruition. We have full confidence in your leadership, and I'm excited for the future we have together at this awesome institution. Thank you.
Me again. One more piece before we get on to the installation of Dr. Rose. This is the first movement from the great American mid-century composer Randall Thompson's great patriotic American cantata, The Testament of Freedom. Testament of Freedom is a four-movement work, all setting the works or the writings of Thomas Jefferson to music for choir and wind band, actually. It's quite the opposite of the Lauridsen piece. The Lauridsen was restrained and quiet and prayerful. This is very much an extroverted yelp of patriotism. Written in 1944, exactly 60 years ago, right at the end of the Second World War, to rally a very war-weary nation at the time. And so it wears its patriotism very wonderfully on its sleeve, and very proudly so. What's even more neat about this piece is that it was premiered at Carnegie Hall in New York City, and in 1944, exactly 60 years ago today. And this February, the Marylhurst Chamber Choir, which is a new audition group, will be traveling to Boston and to New York City and we will give several concerts in both cities, and the climax of that visit will be a concert on the stage of Carnegie Hall. And so I want to ask the 24 singers who have been invited to go on this wonderful and historic trip to stand. Actually, we were looking for applause from you. This is a great opportunity for our students to give a moment of thanks to the Board of Trustees, to Dr. Rose, and to the Marylhurst leadership team who are making this happen, and from the very beginning said, great idea, Justin, how can we make this happen? They didn't bat their eyes once at this, and so I would like to ask the members of the Marylhurst Chamber Choir to show your appreciation to the board and to Dr. Rose.
The God who gave us life gave us liberty at the same time. The hand of force may destroy, but cannot disjoin them. From a summary view of the rights of British America.
My name is Larry Larch. I am president of the Alliance, or by our more formal title, the Oregon Alliance of Independent Colleges and Universities. And I want to tell you that it's clearly an honor and privilege to be a part of this ceremony today. This is more than a symbolic inauguration or installation. This is the real effective transfer of responsibility and obligation and opportunity that comes with a new president entering into a term of office at a university like this. I know that from being on the other end of this more years ago than I'm going to acknowledge. But I know what that opportunity is, and I know what that responsibility is. So this is a very important step in the transfer of that authority and the responsibility. Now, I know Melody through my role as president of the Alliance when she was in the Chancellor's office, in later years as she was the Chancellor. As our two entities, we shared some certain kinds of responsibilities between the public sector and the private sector when she was there. And I can tell you firsthand the amount of respect and integrity that she owns in areas and offices in state government, in the legislature, and in corporate America outside of her narrow responsibilities as the Chancellor. This is an important thing going forward, not only because she does represent that kind of integrity and leadership for the university. I'm here today, and I'm smart enough not to charge her since she's now on my board. So I'm going to be very careful not to give detailed instructions about that. But we do have some of her colleagues from the other Alliance institutions who are here today as a part of the procession. And we're very pleased for that. But we also know that as Melody comes into this role, if she needs help, if she needs counsel, if she just wants to talk to somebody, one of these other presidents is going to be there. She'll have the full support of the Alliance office and certainly the full support from me. But she will also be a contributor in the very same way that I described she will be the beneficiary, as she will help others of our institutional leaders and our institutional cultures over time. So I'm proud to tell you that I was an active advocate of hers and pursued her interest in allowing herself to be nominated and pursue the opportunity to be considered by the search committee headed here by Professor Marty Ringgold, who is on one of your trustees. So it's very much an exciting time for me to have been a part of this, and I now have the awesome responsibility to actually install her into office. But before I do that, just when I thought you were going to get away with this, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the symbolism that goes into the ceremony. I said at the outset that this was not entirely a symbolic gesture, but it is also that, and one that carries with it some lasting value and lasting meaning. So, the Academy has certain traditions for these ceremonies that deserve to be explained. First, the presidential medallion. I've got that puppy, it's right here. I'll bring it out in a minute. I'm not going to. Hold on, you'll see it. A medallion is given to a new president to represent a transfer of the responsibility of office and an obligation to promote and maintain the values represented by the institution. The silver-crafted necklace is comprised of a large medallion and chain. The medallion depicts a stylized version of the official seal of the university. The seal includes the university motto, which translated from the Latin is, quote, "The wise of heart seek knowledge," from Proverbs 15. The seal also includes two significant Marylhurst dates, a couple of which you've already heard. 1859 is the first of those. The year 1859 is when the Sisters of the Holy Names, founders of the university, arrived in Oregon. And in 1893, the year the Sisters established a baccalaureate degree granting institution in Oregon. Other elements comprising the seal are the lamp of learning, 3 Pacific Northwest trees, and the oval crest of the Sisters of the Holy Names. In the small oval are the cross firmly planted in rock, emblematic of Marylhurst's Catholic heritage, and 3 lilies, recalling the 3 women who originally founded the Holy Name Sisters in Quebec, Canada. Along the necklace chains are nameplates bearing the names and terms of office of Marylhurst presidents since its transition to a coeducational institution in 1974. So at this time, I'm going to ask Melody to step up here, and we're actually going to put this on her, if I can manage this. I can. University's academic mace was carried in the procession by the chair of the faculty, whom you heard from a few minutes ago, David Denny, and is now bestowed upon Dr. Rose as a part of this ceremony. And I hope I don't mess this up. This is yours. We're not going to embarrass you. The mace, is reflective of a 14th century tradition and combines the scepter of royalty and the battle club. The scepter stands for the university's power and lawful authority. The battle club, on the other hand, stands for the ability to protect academic inquiry and the pursuit of truth. Marylhurst mace has a handle, which you cannot see, of dried hawthorn wood from a stand of trees planted by the founding sisters in 1930 and represents the various branches of learning. Historically, a bundle of rods borne before ancient Roman magistrates was a symbol of authority. The 4 rings of silver surrounding the handle bear our core concepts: the Catholic heritage, individual dignity, liberal arts tradition, leadership and service. The top, you can't see that, is a stylized replica of the university tower, symbolizing our permanence and dignity. Melody, I now formally charge you to put that into your custody. Please join me in welcoming the 15th president.
Marylhurst's great legacy, as well as charging us along this new bright chapter. It means a tremendous amount to me and our community at Marylhurst that all of you stand here in support of us. Marylhurst has a very unique place in our state's history, and I pledge to all of you that I will work tirelessly to build upon this institution's traditions as we strive to meet the pressing educational needs of our students and our community. To all of you who spoke today, thank you for the gift of these charges. It is truly an honor to have been selected to steward this institution. Our history of humble beginnings, tenacity in the service to the vulnerable, and our commitment to innovation and change make me inordinately proud and excited to lead this institution. I've spent a great deal of time over the past 3 months pondering this institution's history, and I still have an awful lot to learn, but one thing is most certain. The legacy and continued passion of the Sisters of the Holy Names is truly awe-inspiring. And that term is overused in our culture, but I use it very deliberately. And I'm touched beyond words to describe my indebtedness to the sisters. For 121 years, these women have been the faithful, intelligent, compassionate guardians of this special place. Their support is palpable and it's powerful. I feel their presence and the presence of their predecessors every single day, and it is a gift. And let me tell you, I feel lot of me. You should. You should. And I will do everything I can to use my gifts to make you proud of me. For as JFK, among others, once said, to those whom much is given, much is expected. To my colleagues who work in higher education and at other community institutions, I am committed to being a connector for the good of our community, to work with you to share resources and to serve our communities in all ways that we are able. To my Marylhurst faculty colleagues, I think you know already that in my heart of hearts, I am a teacher. I appreciate all that you do to engage our students and educate them with rigor and with flexibility, and I am committed to supporting Marylhurst academic quality and to working with you to build stronger programs for our current and future students. To our alumni, I pledge that Marylhurst will continue to nurture stronger relations with you and that we will help you to have stronger relations with one another. I know that you value the education that you received here, and we will do everything we can to make you proud of your continued affiliation with us. To our Board of Trustees, thank you for all you do for Marylhurst University. I cannot think of a better group of advisors and ambassadors for this university, and I feel deeply privileged to serve alongside you. To our students, you are why we are here. And if we don't serve you well, we aren't succeeding at anything we do. Thank you for entrusting us with your education, your time, and your money. We are committed to helping you achieve your personal and professional goals, and we'd like to keep the cost of doing so reasonable. It is my goal to expand access so that students can afford a Marylhurst education well into our future. So I hear your collective charges, and I look forward to an exhilarating and dynamic conversation with all of you as we walk together through this next chapter of Marylhurst's long history. But I'm aware that some of you know me, and some of you really do not. And as one friend in the audience who urged me to do this knows, I hesitate to use this ceremonial occasion to tell my personal story. But I believe it's relevant to Marylhurst, and it explains why I'm so drawn to the mission of this institution. So even though it causes me a great deal of anxiety to do so, I will share a bit of my history with you here today. Like Marylhurst, I too come from very humble beginnings. I happened to be born to parents who believed in the transformative power of education, but who did not have formal education themselves. They came from a long lineage of poverty, teen pregnancy, addiction, and hardship, and they struggled mightily so that I wouldn't have to. While my dad is not a formally educated man, he's here with me today, and he's brilliant. As a child, and he also now claims his occupation is father of the president. As a child, I often heard from him that college would be my way out, my key to a brighter future, a future that my own parents could never have imagined for themselves. And while I had heard about college, I had certainly never seen one, or even really imagined what it would be like to attend. I assumed it was a system reserved for people brighter and more capable than me. So now that I stand where I am, after years of studying political science and looking at people in poverty and how so many of them are left out of systems, I marvel at how I am even here. By the odds, I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be wearing the medieval robes or this very heavy medallion. Working on my upper body strength. By the numbers, I should be a grandmother, as my mom was at my age. I should not have a formal education.
I should be poor. With hindsight, I know how my trajectory changed. My dad had clarity about my potential and my purpose, and for that I am truly, truly grateful. In school, a guidance counselor one day caught me in the hall of my third high school. I won't explain why that was. And he handed me 2 college applications, one to the UC system and one to Loyola Marymount College. Could you have more different institutions? And I do what adults tell me, by and large. So I filled them out. And to my great amazement, I was accepted at both institutions. So then the real conversation began. How are you going to go? How are we going to pay for this? So fortunately, as a young girl in California in the mid-'80s, I lived in a state where public higher education, at least, was well-funded. But of course, it wasn't free. So my dad got extremely creative, and through his spirit and his determination, a determination that comes from having overcome so much, he arranged for his employer to pay for the balance of my tuition and fees. Rather than take additional pay increases or career opportunities or strap me with student loans, he made a deal with his boss to cover the balance of my expenses. I owe a tremendous amount to that man as well. But there have been many other benefactors too, probably more than I even know. These people I call the other mothers. They're the kind adults who see a vulnerable child and they invite you to sit with them at dinner. They give graciously of their time and knowledge. They offer encouragement without asking for anything in exchange. It was the kind professor at UC Santa Cruz who explained to me how properly to address a faculty member because I didn't know not to call him teacher. Or the teaching assistant who very quietly, very discreetly, so I wouldn't be embarrassed, explained to me that a blue book was not actually a blue book, but a small pamphlet I could buy in the college bookstore for 10 cents to take my exams. And then there was the college dean who told me the day of my commencement that I would be receiving this Phi Beta Kappa pen. And I said, but I thought we didn't have sororities. No, dear, that's an honor society, he said. My family and my generous benefactors made sure that I would walk across the stage much like this one and receive my diploma. They are the reason that I join you in this journey today. Their collective efforts made my life's work possible, just as all of you gathered here today do for all of the students at Marylhurst University. So we share a common history and common motivations and common passions to make the impossible path possible, and to do so in a way that is joyful and respectful and brings kindness to the experience. Among our students, we all know stories like mine. My story is not unique and it's not impossible. However, we must remember that we are the ones charged with ensuring that more individuals have this same opportunity and can tell this same story. So as we look to our future, we must build on Marylhurst University's mission and our heritage of service to underrepresented populations and pull those threads into the 21st century. Women and adult students are still a focus for Marylhurst, and these populations will continue to be at the very center of our thinking. We are uniquely qualified to serve their higher education needs in the state and nation, and there is still a need for us to do so. But we must also address changing demographics and pressure on higher education in order to succeed. We must revisit the business model of higher education, which has largely shifted escalating costs to the student in a way that is unsustainable and damaging to the potential of our graduates. We also must align our educational offerings with the increasing economic and community needs that we see in our region. Our mission remains relevant and timely, and our history of innovation and size makes us nimble in the face of a changing landscape. We can lead the way forward by creating innovative curricula, experimenting with new and old partnerships, and through our basic mission, our core, which is inspired by the sisters. We can turn our focus to our strengths by expanding service to the region's vulnerable populations, African American, Native American, Latino students, veterans, underachieving youth, and more. The future is bright at Marylhurst, but I'd like to initiate a dialogue today about a fear that could impede our progress. Those of us from humble beginnings are said to fear failure. And whether we are individuals or institutions, I don't actually believe that that is true. As a vulnerable kid going through school, I never really thought about failure, to tell you the truth, because the world expected so little of me. In my experience, fear of failure is actually quite limited. We've already seen it multiple times. We've tasted it. We know it. We know that failures happen to us, and we know that they're surmountable. So what we actually fear is unabashed